Hello, I hope you're all having a good start to your new year so far. In today's episode, I'm sharing a little snippet of my recent live masterclass that I hosted last week on the 3rd of January. It was on the subject of the 6 healing mistakes to avoid on your healing journey and what to do instead if you want to heal in 2024. I had such a good time. I really love hosting group events like this. And if you sign up to the waitlist, you would have either been able to join live and hi, hello, thank you for doing so if you did, or you could have watched the replay, but that was time sensitive. So it was actually only available to view until yesterday. And I really wanted more of you to get access to this amazing information though. So I thought, why not share a tiny bit of it on the podcast as well? So you'll hear 3 of the 6 mistakes, not all of them, just to be so it's fair to those who actually went out their way to sign up to the wait list. And it has been edited a little bit when we get into it towards the end, especially, so just bear that in mind. And this masterclass kicked off the launch of Reprogram, which is my 3-month signature group program. So if you love what you hear in the episode and you stay till the end, you'll hear a case study testimonial from a client who went through the modalities and the teachings of Reprogram in 2023 and her experience. Plus, I share more about the program and how you can get started today, right now. Enrollment is open until Sunday and limited spaces are available. So if you're wanting to be part of this group program and be able to rebalance your female body on not only a physical level, but an energetic level, do not wait around. There was an early bird special deal last week as well, but that's ended as well. So that's kind of what I've cut out towards the end. So I'm just sharing the current offers. And if you do have any questions after listening to the episode, then just shoot me an email, which is enquiries with an E at vivanaturalhealth.co.uk, or a DM on Instagram if that's easier. You can find me at Viva Natural Health. But let's get straight into the podcast episode and this sneak peek of my Healing Mistakes Masterclass. Okay, so here is what we're going to learn today. So basically we're going to cover, to begin with, who I am and an overview very quickly of my healing journey, because I know that some of you know me, you've followed me for a while online, but some of you might be brand new to my world and maybe forced here tonight by your friend, your partner. They're like, tune into this crazy girl at 7 o'clock and just see if she can help you. So I want to make sure that you kind of know who I am, know that I've been there myself. I am a qualified practitioner, and I'll just share a little bit more about that. And the main part of the presentation is the 6 biggest mistakes to avoid if you want to heal and what to focus on instead for the best success, the best results. This is coming from, again, a practitioner who has been working with clients since 2017. Even a little bit before that, I've been researching. I've been working with clients at college too since 2014. So I have some experience under my belt, and I've been through all of the fads and phases and detoxes and been to different practitioners. So I've summarized the most important things that I think you need to be focusing on that are sometimes overlooked and not commonly spoken about these days. I've also going to be sharing a client case study. So I've changed the name, but we'll call her Jenna. Jenna's transformation. She went through Reprogram at the end of last year, and I want to share how she found the whole program. So this is my group coaching program that I want to tell you a little bit about towards the end. If you're interested, if you want to hang on and learn a little bit more about this group offer and how you could get started on your healing with me this month. And there'll be time for Q&A towards the end. I've got a couple of questions that have been sent already on Instagram, so I've got them ready to go. But in the meantime, put your questions in the chat box and I'll review them at the end. And yeah, if you want to unmute yourself towards the end, then you can do. So who am I? So I'm a certified naturopathic nutritional therapist. So this is just a little bit different than maybe a dietitian you've heard of or a regular nutritionist. So the college that I went to is called the College of Naturopathic Medicine, and it's very holistic in its teachings. So it kind of pulls upon functional medicine, if you've heard that term, and holistic. I think there's things like holistic health coaches. If you're in the US, maybe that's a more familiar term. But I'm learning more about the root causes, the underlying reasons for your migraines or your IBS or your acne, as opposed to just giving you a natural herb, as opposed to a painkiller. So we are looking deeper than just calories and what you're eating even. We're looking at your environment, your relationships, who you're spending time with. We're looking at your emotional health, your mindset. And I've done further trainings as well, because I feel like there's no one certification that teaches you everything. And I'm a lifelong student and just a bit of a geek, really. So I've done additional trainings. Most recently, this year, I certified as a life coach, hypnosis and EFT practitioner. So I've been incorporating more of those techniques into my work and seeing even better results, which is amazing. So I founded my company Viva Natural Health in 2017, and I work 100% online now. I used to work alongside an acupuncturist in person for a few years when I graduated, but then even before the pandemic and lockdowns and when everyone was forced online, I was already doing that. So I kind of figured out how to use Zoom and got in there and help people through COVID, long COVID, and all of the stress related illnesses that came from that time. I don't know if anyone else's symptoms have got worse. Let me know in the chat if so. Over the past 3-4 years, have your symptoms increased? Have you been struggling more with your mood, your skin? I know that a lot of people had mask acne or skin rashes under their masks because we were wearing them all the time, and panic disorder because everyone was so like freaked out about germs and viruses. So a few more things, some fun things now. Oh no, before the fun things, was not a fun time, was my chronic illness years. So I struggled with really severe health issues from about age 19 to about 25. At 2022, at age 22 was like the worst. That was the peak of it. It kind of like started bad, got really bad, improved a little bit, and then I uncovered in 2020 like a few more deeper root cause healing things that allowed me to fully heal. And I had a laundry list of symptoms before. You name it, I probably had it. Eczema related rashes, rosacea, acne, hair loss. My hair's been falling out in clumps at times. It's been really greasy. I've had brain fog. It felt like I had Alzheimer's or dementia at 20 years old. Severe fatigue that I couldn't even walk up the stairs without being assisted by my mum when I lived at home. Just awful, awful things, period problems, missing periods completely. And a big thing was like multiple food sensitivities. And I just got to this place where I kind of knew that I would heal eventually, but I was really like struggling. And you might be relating to this where you're like, you have faith, but there's some days where you're like, I can't do this anymore. And you just need to be like re-inspired and motivated, especially if you're not working with a practitioner. It can be difficult to do all of this on your own. So if that's you, like keep going. You will get help, you will get improvements if you are like persistent. I actually used to have a screensaver on my phone and it said, you are positive, patient, and persistent. And I swear that got me through the darkest days. I'll cover a little bit on the next slide more about my health, but again, the last few fun things is that I'm a dog mum to Norman the Chihuahua. You've probably seen him on my social media. I got him in the summer and he is the light of my life. I love him so much, and I should probably get him his own Instagram because he's going to start taking over mine. I love Pilates, personal development in general, and matcha lattes. This is green tea. If you've ever tried one, it's a very acquired taste. You either love it or you hate it, but I'm obsessed. And if you're into astrology, I am a Virgo. And if you're into human design, I'm a generator. If that makes no sense to you at all, then just ignore it. But if you're into it, just know that I very much resonate with both of those things. So here's a little overview as to where I was, both mindset and physically versus where I am today, and a couple of pictures just to show like how bad my skin got and how bloated and overweight I was at one point. And I'm pretty tall, I'm 5'11", so I carry weight a little bit better than some people who are shorter, but it was still very abnormal for me. And I was eating probably a healthier diet then than I am now. I was a student nutritionist. I was eating everything organic, like everything organic. And now I'm like, I don't need to do that as much. And it obviously like was more than just calories in versus calories out, like we're usually taught. It was just chronic inflammation, chronic toxicity, poor gut health, stress in my body, that caused me to like hold on to so much weight. But I was very much in victim mindset. Why me? My life is over before it's even started. I felt like I was watching all of my friends and people from school live their life and go on to university and start dating and start their careers and get engaged. And I was just like living at home, stuck at home with like chronic illness, never going out, turning down invitations because I couldn't tolerate foods and I was so bloated and so insecure about my skin. And I would just think like, why is this happening? Now I know that it was all for a reason. Everything happened for my greater good, and I'm so grateful. I always say chronic illness is has been like the greatest thing that's ever happened to me because it's put me on my path. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life before I had health issues, and now I know that this is like what I'm meant to be doing, and it's my gift and it's my passion. And yeah, I'm so grateful for what I went through. It's made me a better person on the other side. And I now have a gratitude mindset. So anything that I go through, and we all have stress and struggles and will continue to, because that's part of life. But I now try to, as much as possible. There's still times and I'm not perfect, but I'm like, what can I learn from this process? Can I trust whatever you believe in, the universe, God? Can I trust that I am divinely supported and this is all happening for me, not to me? Before, I had no plan of action. I was just winging it, just trying random things that I read online, YouTube videos, blog posts, old like Reddit threads, you name it. I was like deep into the dark interweb, searching for any quick fixes, basically. With no strategy and no sustainability, I'd go on these really like restricted diets and didn't have a plan to like get out of them. I was like, okay, I felt better when I first cut out gluten, so now let's stay on that forever, and now let's try something else. What else can I eliminate? What else can I try? What other supplement can I add in? Whereas now I always know where I'm heading in all aspects of my life, physically, in terms of like my career, in terms of my life aspirations. And I understand now what my body needs and how to take care of it. So when I was in my early 20s, I was like so annoyed that I had to be so aware of my health and so strict with my diet. But now, knowing what I know, I'm gonna be so much healthier during menopause and when I have kids in the future and when I'm in my 70s, because I know I've been through the hardship, so I kind of know what my body needs. I know about nutrition and health and natural medicine. So maybe when friends and people who aren't really into their health now in future struggling with lifestyle related disease and God forbid like fatal conditions, I'm like kind of prevented that because we have such a massive influence on our risk of diseases. About 95% of disease is lifestyle driven. That's cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia. So yeah, I'm grateful that even as hard as it was for those years, I will benefit from all of that work into my future years. Before, I was struggling with a laundry list of health issues and really getting nowhere with the support of doctors. I would leave doctor's appointments crying 90% of the time, either crying angrily, crying like frustration, crying just like depression, basically, because they were just trying to push pills on me, tell me that it was all in my head or that my symptoms were normal. And they just made me feel like so stupid sometimes when I'd bring up diet and maybe this, like I've found this research that diet affects skin, and they point like blank told me your diet has no impact on your skin or your digestion. And I just knew, even though I wasn't into this world at that point, I knew that that was BS. Like that just didn't make sense to my brain. And obviously because it is connected, that what you eat becomes your body. So it's just ridiculous that that whole like methodology is so outdated. So now I am happier and healthier than ever. I'm actually healthier than I was before I got sick. So I had pretty good health when I was young, but still nowhere near as good as it is now, which is such a blessing. And before, I was completely missing out on life because my symptoms were holding me back in all areas. I wasn't dating, didn't have a boyfriend till I was like 26 years old. Professionally, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And at first, I couldn't really like progress with my business because I had such severe brain fog and fatigue. I could only work like a few hours a day, especially on a screen. Whereas now I am living my dream life that I spent my darkest days manifesting and thinking about. So my whole like health issues situation began when I was about 19, and it was triggered by me dieting and over exercising. So I was pretty healthy all throughout school, and I went through this period of like going to the gym too much, not eating enough, and basically that kicked off a lot of hormone problems. I lost my period, the acne started then. But now I know that it wasn't just that that caused everything, because when I stopped over exercising, I started eating better, my symptoms didn't go away. And I actually know now about this, it's called like a bucket analogy. So there were so many things leading up to that moment that that was the straw that brought the camel's back. So that wasn't the be all and end all. There was so much more going into it, like mold toxicity in my home, mineral deficiencies from eating like an okay diet, but the soil is just so deficient these days that most of us are deficient, and likely an underlying gluten sensitivity that I had no idea about. And it wasn't causing obvious digestive issues to begin, but then when I went through that stressful time, it became very obvious that it was more than just my current actions. And I made so many mistakes trying to heal. So that's why I wanted to do this webinar, to share the top 6 ones that I made, and many of my clients have made too. So hopefully you can either avoid or know what you need to do if you fell into that trap as well. And I found a nice quote here about how like our brain and our energy affects our life. So it's from Joe Dispenza. If you're into the personal development world and the healing world, you may have heard of him. But he said the only way that we can change our lives is to change our energy, to change the electromagnetic field we are constantly broadcasting. In other words, to change our state of being, we have to change how we think and feel. So you'll understand in a moment a little bit more about what that means and why I'm talking about electromagnetic fields and energy. And it's because this is a huge part of healing that I didn't know about. And here is a little diagram about symptoms that are common, but they're definitely not normal. So we've got dragging yourself through the day because you're so fatigued, and you wake up with, it's like waking up with a iPhone battery that's only 40% charged, and it's just going lower and lower and lower. And by 3 p.m. it's on 0, and you need a little nap or another coffee, a chocolate bar to get you going again. Needing a 12-step skincare routine to achieve even just semi-decent skin. So your skin's still not even clear when you're doing all of that, but you're spending so much money on facials, on dermatologist appointments, on these expensive Korean beauty skincare products. But as soon as you stop using them, your acne comes back. So to me, that's not true healing. You feel like a different person half the month because of your hormones. So from ovulation to your periods, that luteal phase, or PMS week as people call it, you feel like a different person, or you're told by your partner or your family members that you're just a crazy person, you're a psycho, you are like an emotional mess, you're locking yourself in your bedroom crying with a tub of ice cream and chocolates, and you don't understand why it's happening, or you know it's your hormones, but you can't seem to figure out why it's happening. Maybe you're bloating after eating, even healthy meals. This was me. All I wanted to eat was a bowl of vegetables, but that would make me even more bloated than eating junk food sometimes. Experiencing brain fog and poor memory if you're under the age of 90. So we have to understand that that's kind of somewhat acceptable. If you're 90 years old, then I wouldn't be that concerned if you have a little bit of a memory issue. But if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s and above, up until the age of 90, I would say that that is abnormal for you to be experiencing on a regular basis. Being unable to lose body fat or continually gaining fat, having to, I've repeated that one, feeling cold all the time, regularly getting headaches or migraines, feeling anxious or depressed sometimes for no reason at all. Like your life is going pretty well, you've got so many things to be grateful for, but you just feel anxious. Again, this was me. I used to just work in a supermarket when I was studying, and it was probably the lowest stress job you'll ever have. But I would just have panic attacks. Like a customer would come up to me and they'd just be chatting. Maybe they wanted a refund, and I would just all of a sudden feel this like impending sense of doom, and I just wouldn't be able to like catch my breath, and my thoughts would be racing, or I'd just have days or seasons where I'd just be really depressed and nothing had changed. So that's definitely not normal. If something's going on in your life and you've got a job change or something stressful coming up and you're a little bit stressed, or a loved one dies and you feel a little bit down for a bit, that's understandable. That's not what I'm talking about. It's when it's happening constantly and you don't know why. Maybe you're dealing with aches and pains, you injure yourself at the gym all the time, you've got backache, headaches, migraines, or maybe you're isolating yourself from your community, your friends, in an attempt to heal faster. I would say that I had all of these at one stage, but let me know how many you estimate that you're dealing with. So we've got how many? 3, 6, we've got 12. How many out of 12 would you say that you're dealing with? Let me know in the chat box. So with the conventional approach to health, I think it has its place. So we're not here demonizing Western medicine and the pharmaceutical companies and GPs and doctors and the NHS. Those things are amazing when it comes to acute health issues like injuries, accidents. You get in a car accident, yes, give me the surgeries and the drugs and the pain relief. But when it comes to chronic illness, hormone imbalances, lifestyle related issues, these are the conditions that really don't do well with NHS and conventional medicine. You sometimes end up on one medication and then you have to go on another to counteract the side effects. And then by the time you know it, you're on 5 different things. They're all interacting with each other. You're feeling worse than ever. And still no one is addressing the underlying root causes. No one's putting the puzzle pieces together. Or the medication just makes things worse. Like with the birth control pill, people go on it to offset the side effects of hormone imbalance. So they might have painful periods and acne. They go on the pill, they're told that it'll regulate their cycles, clear up their skin, but it actually just makes all of those things worse. So by the time you come off it, you have all of the same original problems plus more. So Eva says definitely 6, at least in her case. Callie, 5 for you. So I would say more than 1 on a regular basis. 4, yeah, so we've got some high numbers, and this is just a fraction of the symptoms that you could be dealing with. So I know I've not put an extensive list on here. 4 again, yeah, I would say that that's not normal. And yeah, there's definitely work to be done there. Okay, let's get on to the mistakes. I don't want to leave you waiting any longer. So the mistake number 1 is that you're spending time focusing on what you don't want, not what you do want. I saw a Tony Robbins video once and he made the point very clear. He got a few people on stage and he just asked them what do you want from your life? And they literally stood there for about 5 minutes and listed everything that they don't want. Well, I don't want to be working when I'm 16. I don't want to be overweight anymore. And I don't want to be single anymore. And they didn't tell him one thing that they did desire. And what that does is just expands or kind of attracts more of that into your life. So what you focus on expands, as I put here. In terms of, I don't know if you're familiar with the term of the law of attraction, but there's universal laws. Just like gravity, we know it exists, but we can't see it. It's like these universal laws. So there's something called the law of attraction, which is, again, what you focus on, you attract more of that into your life. If you've ever had the experience of buying a new car or thinking about buying a new car, and you start to see that car model everywhere that you go. It's not that there's more of those cars on the road recently, just because you want to get one. Everyone's decided to get one. It's that they've always been there. you've now just become more aware of it. Your subconscious mind, and there's a part of the brain called the reticular activating system, the RAS, that has kicked in and is now seeing more of that. So when it comes to health, if all you're focusing on is the acne on your face, the bloated belly, the chronic pain, you're just going to see more of that. So instead, we want to focus on what we do want. And we also need to focus on where we're heading. What are our actual goals? Let's get crystal clear on what you want. It's like with anything. If you're heading towards a destination, you need to put something in the sat nav, in the GPS. You need to know where you're heading. If a cruise ship just set off and they're like, oh, I hope I end up in Australia, but they're just winging it, one slight turn, like one degree difference, could end up the other side of the world eventually. So we need to know where we're wanting to go and be very specific. And it's like I've heard this with race car drivers as well. If they're taught that when they're about to crash, they need to focus on where they want to go instead of where they're heading. So if they're heading toward the wall, instead of looking at the wall, they're like, look over there, and that automatically allows their body to steer away from the problem. So you're way more likely to achieve your goals. And some common things that I hear is that I don't want to deal with acne or period problems anymore. I've tried it all, nothing's working. You can see how that is just telling yourself and reaffirming to yourself that you have these problems, and that attracts more of that in. And in terms of energetic frequency, those things are all very low frequency, low vibration. The highest vibration are things like love and gratitude and happiness and laughter and all of these positive feelings. Down at the bottom is pessimism, hatred, anger, frustration. So in order to attract high vibrational experiences and things, we want to be in that vibration, and that's going to attract more of that in. It's like if you're listening to a radio, this is frequencies as well. That's how that works. You're trying to listen to heavy metal music, but you're tuning into 102.0 on the radio, which is a pop music channel. You're not going to get rock music. You're not going to get heavy metal listening to that. You're going to get what frequency you're attuned to. So we really want to focus on what we do want. And instead of focusing on what we don't, we want to get crystal clear on your goals. And when we're not just saying, I want to be happy as a goal, or I want to be relaxed, that's not a very specific goal. If you've ever heard of SMART goals, they need to be specific and measurable and actionable or something like that. So if you say, I want to be happy, and you check in with yourself next year, because your perception changes, it could be that you don't actually realize that you've achieved your goal, because what you thought would make you happy before, you've changed your opinion on that. So it needs to be something instead like, I want to feel well enough and excited to see friends twice a week. You can see how that's way more actionable and specific. We want to write them out, review them as often as possible. So have them on your phone, have them in your diary, have them written out on paper, stuck on your fridge, whatever you have to do. Write out your health goals. And you can also use things like visualization to really cement that into the mind. The subconscious mind really doesn't know the difference between real and perceived, or imagined and reality. So if you close your eyes and you really get into that feeling of health and have yourself in a specific situation where you're out to eat with your friends, or you're in the mirror doing your skincare routine and your skin's clear, or you're on holiday and you're swimming in the ocean and you're feeling so confident in your body and you're feeling so strong, that if you repeat that over and over and really have those feelings attached to it, how you're going to feel, not just thinking and seeing the picture, feeling into how happy you're going to be, how much excitement you're going to have, how much joy is going to be in your body, all of the good things that you're going to be able to do when you have energy, that also helps. I'm also a really big fan of hypnosis to help you achieve those goals as well, because that speaks directly to the subconscious mind, which controls your reality basically and your behaviors. And just imagine having optimistic thoughts as your default. Obviously, getting worried or sad every now and again is normal, like I said, but it doesn't control your mind like it used to. And imagine seeing the glass half full, not half empty. That is a possibility for you. I used to struggle with the worst seasonal depression ever, like this time of year. I would not be here doing this webinar today, because by 4 o'clock I'd be like no energy, not wanting to speak to anyone, ready for bed. So I used to have really bad seasonal depression when my health was at its worst. So if you're currently in the same boat, just know that that can get better as well as you improve your physical body. Mistake number 3, so the final mindset mistake, is being your own worst enemy. And you might be thinking, I don't think I am. Like, I don't feel that about myself. Like, I love myself, or I think I'm okay. But you might not think that you're your own worst enemy, but here are some common examples. There might be days where you think, oh, I can't believe I ate that. I'm so stupid. What a mistake. My gut's going to be a mess for the rest of the day. My skin's going to break out in 2 days. Or, oh, my skin's so awful today. I can't go out tonight. I'm going to cancel. People are going to be staring at me. My body's broken. Why is this happening to me? Victim mentality again. And this can be especially true if you don't have support from a practitioner or some sort of community, or your loved ones or friends aren't really like aware of what's going on, which I know is common, that people just keep everything to themselves and don't really tell people. They don't want to burden others with their stresses. But because the only thing, if it's just you on your own, the only thing that you're going to be hearing is your own negative self-talk. So you instead need to be your own biggest cheerleader. And you want to be super cautious of your language, what you say out loud to other people, and your inner dialogue. So the thoughts that you're thinking, just check in like multiple times throughout the day, because our thoughts tend to be on repeat anyway. We're just thinking the same thoughts as we did yesterday and the same thoughts we're going to have tomorrow. So check in and catch yourself. What are you saying about your health, your symptoms? What are you telling other people? Are you saying, oh, I have this condition, or I am an acne sufferer, or I am a chronic fatigue sufferer? If you're especially resonating and kind of like personalizing the condition, no wonder that it's not going. If you're like, this is my anxiety and my depression and my skin issues, no wonder that they're not leaving, because it's like your identity. It's like your personal belonging then. So instead, we want to try and separate ourselves away from our symptom and start to act like you would if you didn't have health issues. I know that that's not possible to some degree, but there are many ways that you can do so. So like with me, I would turn down invitations because I was scared about the oils that they were cooking the food in, or if I was going to be bloated afterwards. So instead, I would stay at home, I would cook from scratch, and I would sit in my kitchen eating chicken and broccoli and rice on my own. Still even more stressed than I would have been if I went out, honestly. So we just want to catch ourselves. And we do need to talk about our health sometimes, but if everything that you're doing, every waking moment, you're thinking about your health in a negative way, you're thinking about the future in a negative way, you're owning your conditions and your diagnosis and your labels, and you're claiming them as your own, then that's something that you need to work on. So a belief is just something that you've thought over and over again. So if you have a belief that your body is failing you and it's not possible to have like 100% remission from your condition, then that's just something that either you've been told over and over again, or you've thought over and over again, or it's something that you were like told when your subconscious mind was developing, and it just took it as a fact, because the subconscious mind doesn't have the ability to question or reason. It's like, okay, that's the truth. It's like when you're young, you're told that Father Christmas is real, and you're like, okay, then it's real. And then when your subconscious brain is formed, about the age of 7, 8, 9, that's when people start to like question things like, if Father Christmas is real, then like, how does he fit down my chimney when I don't have one? Or his handwriting looks really suspiciously like my mum's. Why is that? And it's because your brain starts to switch on. But with some things, you don't question them. You're like, my mum told me this, so it's truth. I'm always bad at maths, or I'm always going to have weight problems because it runs in the family. Maybe that's what you've been told. So starting to look back even to your childhood and thinking about what you were told specifically in relation to health. What were the examples of health that you were seeing, and how could that be affecting you today? So your brain can change. These beliefs and these pathways aren't set in stone. The brain is plastic and it can change. It's called neuroplasticity. They used to believe that it was just like set that way forever and that there was no ability to change. If you had mental illness, if you had certain like thought pathways, that's just how you were. You're just an anxious person, you're just a pessimist, but that's not true at all. So instead of being your own worst enemy, we want to talk to and treat yourself like you would a child or a loved one. So it's okay, like tomorrow's a new day. You're still beautiful despite your breakouts. Go and enjoy yourself. Things will get better. Like, you have to be your own hype girl, hype person. And parts of healing can be enjoyable. I don't need to think that your healing journey is like this horrible time in your life that you never have fun. It shouldn't be something that you hate every moment. It can be challenging sometimes, but especially my programs and my courses, I try to do this as much as possible, is make people enjoy it and not have it be this thing that they just dread doing and they feel like they're separating themselves from the life and they can never go out, they can never participate in certain things because they're on this really strict diet and plan. So I love it when clients say they feel excited to have a call with me. That's such a good thing, because again, in that spectrum of emotions and energies, the highest frequencies are gratitude and fun and excitement and love, as opposed to the bottom of the list is pessimism, hatred, anger, frustration. Mistake number 5, I said it tied into the other point, because it's all about having a masculine approach to your healing. And if you're a woman, just know that you're not a small man. And a lot of the research that is done these days on health have been done on either men or postmenopausal women when they're experimenting with diets and products and supplements, because they don't think it's ethical to test on premenopausal women in case they fall pregnant. So all of these things about fasting and maybe some supplements or detoxes, 5-2 diet, all of that hasn't actually been tested on premenopausal women, which is like women of reproductive years, which just tells me a lot. So we're given these blanket statements online now that everyone needs to be doing this, everyone needs to stop eating at 6 o'clock, or everyone needs to take vitamin D all throughout the winter if you live in the UK, and that's just not true. Everyone is bio-individual. So a masculine approach to healing, obviously, if any men are watching or listening, I'm not talking to you for this one, this is specific to women. But if you're doing things like cold ice baths and coffee and working out on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, always seeking and searching what's next and having this regimented schedule where you're like, okay, I wake up, I do this, and I need to do my sauna, and then I need to do this, and I need to go and work, and then I need to do this, and it's just go, go, go. That is such a masculine way of being. That's going to be adding more stress to your body. So you don't have, if that's you, that doesn't tell me that you have trust in the process, because you're constantly seeking and you're telling and reaffirming to yourself that something is wrong. I need to find answers. Something is wrong with me. Let me seek and kind of destroy. So we want to be more in that surrender and flow state. And even men, like I know I just said this is for women, but even some men sometimes need to pull back and relax when it comes to the healing, because we have so much information at our fingertips these days that we just think that we're missing something, and we have this dopamine addiction where we're just constantly scrolling on our phone, on Instagram, TikTok, trying to find the next golden ticket that's going to improve our health. But they may not even be doing the absolute foundations or basics, like drinking enough water. I see that all the time. Clients come to me, they're like, I've tried XYZ, spent thousands of pounds, and I'm like, okay, you're drinking 2 glasses of water a day. Do you not think we should start there for your constipation or your brain fog? They improve that, and they're like, oh yeah, maybe. So if you don't know like the masculine feminine energy dynamics, the analogy that I like to give is like a riverbed. So imagine the riverbed itself, or a river analogy, the riverbed itself is the masculine. So that is the structure that holds the water being the feminine energy. So if we were to relate this to business, in business, the masculine, the structure would be the spreadsheets, the automations, the planning, the meetings. That's the masculine. The feminine would be like the creative, the ideas, the connection, the communication. So we do need both for success. So in terms of having a plan of action, we need to make sure for your health that you have a healthy masculine structure, a plan, so that your feminine energy can flow and your nervous system can calm down. The biggest desire of the female body is to be safe and feel calm in your environment, in your own body, definitely. So we ideally need some sort of plan of action, some goals to look forward to, something to try. And so much healing can actually come from working with someone. I've had so many clients tell me as soon as they like sign up to work with me, before we even have one session together, they say, I feel so much better already. And that's just because the weight has been lifted off their shoulders and they're not having to do it all alone anymore, especially if they're trying to work full time, look after kids with fatigue at the same time and try to figure out their own health issues. It's just so overwhelming. So as soon as they like surrender and like pass the baton to me and like, okay, you just tell me what to do, that automatically relieves so much stress from the body. We also need to give things time to work. So if you're someone who's constantly on to the next thing, try something for 2 weeks, doesn't work, so then you're on to the next one. That can be a problem. You do need to give things time, especially if you've had health issues for years. But also, on the other hand, we don't want to stay doing things forever just because we think that they're working. If you don't have objective like results after 3, 6, 12 months, sometimes you do need to give things a bit longer, but really check in and review the supplements that you're taking or the way that you're eating. Is it still working for your body? No, don't just stay on things forever. Are you still on iron tablets for your fatigue because your doctor once said 10 years ago that you had a bit of low iron and anemia, and maybe it helps your energy a little bit, so you just, every time you're tired, take iron pills now because you just think it's the same cause? That it could be a completely different reason that you're tired now, and you just taking iron without knowing what you're doing could be causing more issues. Let's meet Jenna now. Jenna was a client of mine. She did the reprogram method in September, so last year, and finished up just before Christmas. And she's 33, married, she's a business owner, and she came to me with skin issues, energy issues, painful periods, and food sensitivity. She was realizing she was becoming more and more reactive to foods. Her period issues and acne had pretty much started when she was a teenager and started menstruating for the first time. The other things had developed over time. Jenna had already worked with 4 natural health practitioners before me, and she was tired of taking a million supplements, doing restricted diets, and not really feeling any of the benefits. She was also doing a lot of things to try and control her symptoms. Weekly acupuncture, she was on about 10 supplements a day, infrared sauna, a medical grade skincare routine from an esthetician, and a low FODMAP diet, to name a few. And she told me that she believed that she would heal eventually, but would often feel frustrated and let down by her body, especially when her symptoms flared up. And this is such a common situation that I hear where they're like, I've tried it all. And I'm like, have you really? Is that a limiting belief? Have you tried everything out there? Probably not, because that's a lot of things. So just know that there is a big difference with different practitioners even. A nutritionist that lives in your local town, maybe versus a practitioner like myself. Just because you visited one and didn't really like see any results doesn't mean that you've finished in that area. Just know that the quality can be a big difference. And there is a difference between managing symptoms well versus actually addressing the root cause level. So with her bloating, she realized that these FODMAP foods, so you don't need to know this massively, but there are a bunch of foods that things like apples and garlic and onions that can be IBS triggers for some people because of the certain sugars and fibers in them. and she was doing a low FODMAP diet, but that cuts out a lot of healthy foods. So she was like restricting more and more over time. So that is an example of managing symptoms really well versus what I would do is like figure out why she's so bloated and has like bacterial imbalances in the gut that's making her react in that way. And the bottom example here, so she did believe that she would get better, but sometimes wavered a little bit. That is an example of how someone is kind of trusting their body, but not 100%. And we need to have 100% confidence in the process, even on challenging days. That is the mindset that's going to get you the results. After doing some mindset work with her and investigation into limiting beliefs, we discovered Jenna had quite a few things holding her back. Surprise, surprise, there's always something. So here are some examples that we discovered with her. So from a young age, Jenna experienced and witnessed her mum and older sisters struggle with debilitating period pain. And they would tell her, just you wait, this is part of being a woman. And she would see them spending days in bed, and that would just be normal to them. The next one is relating to her gut health. So early on, she would initially just feel bloated after eating a lot of refined carbs, like a big bowl of chips or crisps or pasta. But then after doing some research online, trying to like find some answers, one day she heard about FODMAPs and how they could trigger IBS-like symptoms. So from then on, she realized that she created this belief that they were a problem for her, but she never confirmed that. She didn't have any actual evidence that they were a trigger for her, which is interesting. And then the very last thing is with her energy issue, she just thought that energy crashes in the afternoon were normal because she'd worked quite a lot in her life in an office and everyone would get the 3 to 4 p.m. slump. And she just thought it was more likely to happen as she got older. And then on the physical, and also with her periods, she also had some shame around her period from an embarrassing situation that happened to her in high school. Basically, she was just like, she leaked through her trousers and the boys laughed at her, and then that created a limiting belief and stress around her menstrual cycle. Physical health, although it looked like she was living a healthy lifestyle from the outside, the approach she was taking was actually burning her out and causing additional stress in her body. She was unknowingly and subconsciously telling herself and affirming that she was still struggling with her health. She was still unhealthy based on her behaviors. There is still a way to do saunas and eat healthily without doing that to yourself. It all comes down to your approach. So if you go into it like, I'm doing this sauna today because I want to support my health in the best way, not I need to do this sauna to clear all of the toxins and get rid of these infections and heal my body, heal me from chronic pain. So you can just see that different shift of approach. Or even when you're taking supplements, you're not taking them because you need them desperately to heal. You're taking them because you know the soil's deficient and you just want to be wise and support your body. So here are some examples of what we discovered for the physical things that she was doing. So her approach to healing was very masculine, as I spoke about before, and she was reassuring to her brain that something was wrong constantly that needed fixing. And after reducing some of her appointments and consultations and practices, this helped her to relax and have more time for introspection. So I want you to learn how to take care of yourself long term and be able to trust your intuition into the future and not have to constantly rely on practitioners and information online. I want you to understand your own body. She was also taking way too many things to promote detoxification. She was taking herbs and cleanses and binders and all sorts of things and doing saunas. And because she hadn't lowered her stress and supported her bowel function first, the toxins were actually pushing out through her skin, contributing to acne. And what we did was take some basic supplements that I recommended to her in her one-to-one session, including a spore-based probiotic, and that helps a ton. So she wasn't severely constipated, but she wasn't going as much as she should have been. And this was backing up inside. It was contributing to estrogen dominance and her period problems because she also wasn't clearing hormones effectively. And then very last thing is now that her stress levels were lower, and her gut was healthier, she was able to expand her diet and eat more foods. She reintroduced the FODMAP-rich foods and realised that actually wasn't ever a problem for her. She had just been very stressed when eating and had some bacterial imbalances in her gut. And when we addressed those things, she was able to introduce the foods, which ultimately made her gut really happy and healthy. When you have a more diverse diet, especially with these fiber-rich foods, it promotes diversity in your good bacteria, and it protects your immune system, it supports your metabolism and your digestion in the long run. So she'd been avoiding some very healthy foods for a long period of time. And here is a little testimonial from Jenna. I got this just before Christmas, so after she'd finished the program. So she said, "I can't believe how much better I feel in just a 3-month period. Having tried so many things before in pursuit of healing, I was really starting to worry if this was just going to be how it is. I had never addressed the subconscious aspect of healing before, but after learning more about my own programming, it makes total sense how it affects us and our health. I know I still have some work to do because we're undoing decades of imbalance here, but I now feel confident and completely trusting of my body, which feels so freeing. I definitely recommend Reprogram, which I'll talk to you about in a moment, to any woman who is currently struggling with her health. It really is a holistic approach, and I am forever grateful to Vivian." Let me clear my throat. So this is Reprogram. So if you feel like today you've had your eyes opened to what a truly holistic approach is for your healing, and you're looking for that guidance and structure and support for your healing to let your nervous system calm down, then I would absolutely love to share more about my signature group program, Reprogram. So it stands for the Restoring Energy Program, and we're going to be restoring energy on a physical and energetic level. Who is it for? So Reprogram is for you if you try to think positive and stay motivated, but find it really challenging. Sometimes you feel like there's a black cloud above your head, despite the affirmations and meditations that you do. You've been on your healing journey for a while, yet it feels like something's missing, even though doctors assure you that everything's normal on your lab test. Surprise, surprise. And you're sick of the general information that you read online, and you want to finally get personalized recommendations from an expert health practitioner. And you'd love to feel supported and know that you're in good hands when you're on your healing journey so that you can relax more. How does that sound? Are you ready to have a plan from an actual professional, not Dr. Google? I will help you in this group program on a completely holistic level, showing everything that I know from my past, 8 years now in practice. It is a women's health program, so any guys on the call now or watching the replay, listening, who are needing support, then my one-to-one package, Root Cause Relief, will be the best for you. You can find more information to that on my website, but Eva, if you could post in the link now, the link to Reprogram. If you want to learn a little bit more about Reprogram and what it covers, I'll share a little bit more now, but just be mindful if you're on your phone and you click the link, it might kick you off. So maybe save the link, copy, paste it for later, or just make a note of it. It is just on my website, which you can find on my emails and stuff. But here's what's included in Reprogram. So it's a 3-month group program, and I'm actually starting enrollment today for the next round, the next cohort, which is going to start for the first live call on the 17th. So this gives you a couple of weeks to start the new year. I didn't want to rush people into the first week. I know it's a busy one and people are just getting their lives back on track after Christmas. But yeah, we start the first live call on the 17th of January. And you might actually realize when we come onto the subject schedule that each of today's mistakes cross over to the subject of the live call. For example, mistake number 1 was not having a clear vision. So that's exactly what we're covering on call 1 together. So the first 3 calls are all the energetic, emotional, subconscious blocks. Calls 4 to 6 are on the physical things. So feminine energy and nervous system, metabolic health, and gut health and detoxification. So we have 6 calls on these things, and then we have a final bonus call, which will be at the start of April. That's when we finish up. And everyone in the group, so I'm going to make it a very small, intimate group, just to make sure everyone gets time, and everyone gets a one-to-one with me, a 60-minute call with me. Because I know that with group programs, people are a little bit put off because they're like, oh, I just get the same information as everyone. But I have just busted your limiting belief, because there is a one-to-one call that everyone gets, and you actually get a personalized supplement plan. So like with Jenna, for her, just some basic supplements for the 3 months made a whole lot of difference. And she'd just been trying like random things before with no success. There's a community page, so the entire time you're going to be supported by the whole group, and you get a chance to ask your questions and just be working with me for 3 months in total, and receive further support between the live calls. So the live calls are bi-weekly, every other week. That gives you plenty of time to action and implement the recommendations and like homework that you're going to be getting. There's also a library of hypnosis and reprogramming tracks for you to listen to, and you can actually get started with them right away when you sign up, so you don't even have to wait till the 17th. They're on the portal, ready to go, ready to listen to. And I'm obviously going to be sharing my top nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset strategies that have helped me and my clients heal. So here, just speaking of the reprogramming tracks, this is based on the information that I learned this year. I'm a certified hypnosis and EFT practitioner, so we're absolutely going to be incorporating that into the group, and I'm so excited. And I've had some of my clients listen to them and give me feedback, and here are some of the testimonials. And a lot of these people have already been listening to meditations and been working with practitioners for a while, so they give me really like positive feedback, like you should be so happy with them, you sound like a pro. So it's like my head's getting bigger and bigger. But yeah, they're really powerful tools that are very different to the generic YouTube ones. And I think there's always a benefit of a familiar voice reading them to you as well, as opposed to this random like American guy on YouTube. So the hypnosis tracks, this library is ever expanding as well, as is the whole program. I'm always going to be adding more things to it over time. But for now, we have 5 hypnosis and meditation tracks, tapping into feminine energy, general healing, relaxation. That's a really positive one. Inner peace, if you're just feeling this like sense of anxiety, constant anxiety, that's an amazing one. I have clients with insomnia, and it's helping them to get to sleep. And here's the actual breakdown of the call schedule. So the first 3 calls, as I said, is really focusing on the subconscious mind. Call 1 is spending like time getting clear on your goals and the identity of your future healed self. So we're really going deep into some journaling, some visualization. Call 2, we're going to be identifying and overcoming those limiting beliefs that could be holding you back. So we'll help to pick apart what's holding you back personally. Call 3 is landing on Valentine's Day. So if we need to change the date with that one, we'll discuss as a group. But yeah, for now, we'll keep it as Valentine's Day. Otherwise, it'll just be another weekday. They're all on a Wednesday, 7 p.m. UK time. So the exact same time as today's webinar. So if this is suitable for you and you're available for the majority of them up until April, that'd be amazing. If you can't attend every single one live, that's okay. You always get a video replay. But to get the most out of the group, we want to attend live if possible. And then calls 4 to 6, we've got upgrading your metabolic health, regulating blood sugar, supporting the female nervous system and feminine cycles. Call 6 is improving gut health and detoxification. And there is a bonus call, number 7. So this is really just like a celebration at the end on the 10th of April. We discuss integration, so how to continue with the work, how to like navigate this in the real world once you're not in this lovely like support bubble anymore, and a final chance for Q&A. And let's move on. So you can start writing your questions in the chat box if you have any, and we'll get ready for a little Q&A in a second if you have any. The full price, as you can see on this slide, next week is going to be 1 payment of $777 or 2 payments of £395. That'll end for good on the 14th of January. And I can't guarantee that it will ever be this low again. So this is a signature program now that I'm going to be releasing twice a year, but with each round, it might change. It might not be as much one-to-one with me. it might not be this price point. So I wanted to be as affordable as possible for you, to give you even less excuses to join. I know at this time of year, people are like, oh, like money's tight, but if you think of how much you're spending now on all of the different things that you're doing, the random supplements, the little courses that people are selling online, like weekly challenges or appointments at the acupuncturist or appointments with your therapist, but you're not getting these breakthroughs, you're not seeing the results, how much money are you spending? And honestly, things just become more expensive the longer that you leave them. The first live call, when we do the goal settings, getting clear on your future healed self, is going to be on Wednesday, the 17th of Jan. So again, you can get started now. You can get access to the hypnosis and the meditations. There's a manifestation masterclass on there. There's a welcome video. You can book in your first session for you to use over the next 3 months. So there's still plenty of stuff you can be getting started with. If you're feeling eager, you're motivated, you're ready to go after today's masterclass, then just know that you'll still have some things to be doing. And here are some testimonials. You'll get the replay slides for this, so I don't expect you to be able to read all of these very quickly, but just know that whether it's like wanting to fall pregnant, you're wanting to clear your skin, get your energy back, the body can heal from pretty much anything given the right environment and when we really work on the root cause level. So I want you to be able to get through your day with energy. I want you back at the gym again. I want you to feel calm and optimistic about life. I want you to have clearer skin and easier periods and better digestion. And if you would love that too, then Reprogram would be a perfect fit and I would love to have you. So I know we are at 8:30 now, but with our technical difficulties break, I will stay on for another 5-10 minutes if we have questions. I had some questions, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. I had some questions from Instagram on my phone, but if you have any that you want to type in the chat box, let me know. If you want to unmute yourself, just do the little hand raise reaction and I will come to you in a second. Yeah, thanks Heather for putting in those links. I will be sending them out via email as well, and you can always find them on the website if they disappear after the Zoom finishes. But Catherine got to go now. Thanks for doing the seminar, all very interesting. I've been meaning to update you for a long time, so it's a good reminder. Okay, so Catherine was a client of mine, and again, she is loving the free information. It's always a good idea to refresh and just get reminded about little things that you're like, oh yeah, I was doing that, but I kind of slipped and forgot. So some questions that I've had. So is this available worldwide? Yes. So as long as you've got internet connection and you speak English, that's all I require of you. You've got a strong internet connection, probably better than mine is today, then it would be a good fit. And the supplements and things that I use, they can be shipped worldwide, so you don't have to be in the UK. I have like professional practitioner grade products that I can use with people, whether you're in the US, Australia, Spain, France. What is the price in like euros or dollars? So the price obviously changes day to day based on the conversion rate. So you'll have to check with just Google, so Great British Pounds to USD or Australian dollars, and you'll be able to see exactly what the price is. I don't want to say something now and it change tomorrow. How much time each week would it require to do the work? So I would say the live calls that we have, the bi-weekly calls, are every other week, and they would last 60 to 90 minutes. So you're always going to do that. And then there will be some homework. It's not like school, but like try this today or try this meditation or do these journaling prompts, little things like that. There will be something for you to do after every call just to implement what we've discussed. And new videos will be uploaded every week, but I'd probably say to make the most out of the course, probably 2.5 to 4 hours of learning each week, including those live calls every other week would be a good estimation. But you obviously can take it to whatever level that you want. It's up to you at the end of the day. You're going to get lifetime access to this information too. So even if like something crops up with work and you're halfway through and you're like, oh my God, I can't commit this time, just if you can attend the live calls at minimum, that would be amazing. But you're going to have the videos to watch back and everything in future, so don't feel like you've completely missed out. And I think last question I have on here is, how strict will the diet recommendations be? Because this person has a history of an eating disorder. So I just want to make clear that this isn't an eating disorder recovery program by any means. So I don't claim that, but a lot of my clients, like I believe at some point I had this disordered style eating where it just got a bit extreme. So I'm very aware that most people have had some like dieting history and can be sensitive around like food and triggered by things like that. So if it's not an active eating disorder, like you're currently really struggling with anorexia or bulimia, if it's like you've had it in the past but it's okay now, then you can still join. So it's not super strict with diet. I will give you my honest recommendations in your one-to-one call if I really do think, after reviewing your food diary, after hearing your symptoms, that you would really benefit from reducing or avoiding a certain food. I will say that I will give you my honest advice, but it's up to you at the end of the day, and we can discuss together in the one-to-one call like what's going to be the best option for you. But we will be covering the diet and nutrition module at the end of February when we come on to that metabolic blood sugar section. But it's more about, it's not, you're not getting a diet plan or anything like that. It's more about like, here are the meals to focus on. Here's how to build a plate. Here's how to nourish yourself. Here's how to use food as medicine and to your like healing benefit, as opposed to what can we take away and what can we restrict? How can we deprive ourselves? So that's all of the questions that I had. I'm sure as soon as we finish, you'll have a question pop into your mind. So please send me an email, Ever, if you put the email into the chat box. But again, if you've had today's Zoom link through via email, then just respond back to that email. But it's enquiries@vivanaturalhealth.co.uk. And as I said, enrollment is now open. So if you're wanting to claim one of the limited spaces, then please do so as soon as possible, because I don't want you to miss out. And there's always the case where someone's like, oh, are you still open for enrollment? And I'm like, sorry, no, I've given you plenty of notice. So yeah, don't be kicking yourself if you're like wanting to do something, you're wanting to make a change this year, and you're feeling that pull. I feel like we always have this pull to something and this gut feeling like we know we want to do it, but again, we get in our heads. So don't let these limiting beliefs like, it's not going to work, I'm not going to be able to stick to it, things always fail, I can't stick to a plan. That's just a limiting belief. And actually doing the program and pushing yourself out your comfort zone will prove to you that that was a limiting belief the whole time. So are the meetings for the course over Zoom? Yes, so the meetings will be on Zoom. So once you sign up, you'll get access to the call schedule, the Zoom link. So you'll just save that meeting link, and we just use the same one for the bi-weekly calls. So I just recommend putting the call schedule in your calendar, and then yeah, you've got it ready to go. So yeah, everything's hosted on Zoom, everything's recorded, and then if you can't attend live or you want to watch back the replay, that will be uploaded on the very next day onto the Kajabi portal. So everything's hosted on Kajabi, which is a really user-friendly software. I really love using it. It costs a pretty penny, but it's for good reason. And there's an app, so you can literally just like watch the video modules on your phone as you're cooking dinner. You can listen to them as you're out on your walk or doing your workout. And they're very short and sweet, to the point, just because I know that everyone is busy and we already have a ton of information coming our way. So I wanted to make it as like succinct as possible and just give you the top information that you need to know. So I feel like my voice, I'm recovering from a cold at the moment. So I have a bit of a scratchy throat. So I'm gonna go and like ring my internet provider and shout at them and go and have a nice glass of water. But yeah, thank you so much for all of you who attended. I know some people have dropped off if they're already working with me or they had to go, but this will be sent out tomorrow as a recording. Thank you so much. Honestly, joining something live is another like investment into yourself. So congratulations on that. And please let me know if I can help you with anything else. But I'm wishing you all a lovely evening or rest of your day if you're elsewhere in the world. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Lily. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Eva, for the support today, for holding the fort while I had to disappear for a moment. But enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. And yeah, thanks again.
I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I would love for you to leave me a rating and review on your podcast app, as this helps to support the show and it allows it to reach more people with this valuable information. Come and say hi over on Instagram. I'm at Viva Natural Health. And if you haven't already, check out my website, vivanaturalhealth.co.uk, for tons more free resources and to discover how I could support you further. I currently offer one-on-one consultation packages if you want my top level support, then more affordable group programs and self-paced online courses. So there really is something for everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you back here next week for another episode.